Student Achievement Through Instructional Practices, the SAPE Approach. The Road to Task Analysis, Parts 1 through 4, Presentation 4, Speaking the Same Language. The SAPE strategy begins by gathering information from each staff member. 1. Ongoing professional development is focused and relevant. 2. A variety of teaching strategies is available to meet individual needs. 3. Should we continue our present staff development programs? 4. Prioritize these skills that will assist you in your teaching. Data on display, standards-based practices, data assessment and analysis, balanced literacy, data-driven decision-making, D3M, and SBE training. 5. I would recommend the following suggestions for staff development. This information will be informative and very interesting for school leaders. The Road to Task Analysis focuses on building the staff development program now that we have assessed what teachers are requesting in becoming that qualified teacher per Department of Education definition, in planning the experiences to best work with staff, and establishing common outcome goals. In the SAPE strategy, we develop common understanding as to achieving high standards, reflecting on current effective methods, using data to drive instructional decisions, teaming with colleagues, working collaboratively with all school personnel, in maintaining high expectations for every student, identifying best practices that will improve professional development, and assessing successful student learning outcomes. On our road to task analysis in a SAPE staff development session, we assess the way students learn through the multiple intelligence theory. Do we know and recognize how our students learn best? Do we recognize when students are having difficulties or when they seem to understand their learning? During this SAPE staff development session, we ask teachers to recognize their own learning styles. Prior to the session, teachers will visit this website and assess their learning styles. It will be very interesting to see how staff respond. We can now focus on developing our instructional unit using this simple planning sheet. The SAPE staff development session ends Part 2 by building a lesson knowledge base to plan instruction, monitor student progress, and identify assessment data by thinking big but starting small. Parts 1 and 2 focused on acquiring information about school-wide practices and thinking about learning through the multiple intelligences theory. We can now focus on knowledge-based practices through speaking the same language. We start with student baseline data to plan instruction, to monitor student progress while assessing test data. This pattern will continuously cycle as we view changes in both individual and organizational processes. As we begin to design instructional lessons, teachers will be able to identify the types of assessment data they seek as lesson units are developed. Data analysis helps to identify learning strategies, plan instruction, guiding us towards monitoring progress, assisting the teacher to plan by using a simple, easy-to-use testing matrix. This matrix will be used by teachers each quarter in planning instruction during grade level meetings. Teachers will be able to identify components of an SBE lesson. What do you want your students to know? What do your students already know about the subject? How will you plan for differentiation? How will you measure learning outcomes? What do you need to reteach to those students who have not mastered the learning? And what teachers need to do to plan next? Part 4 addresses the final task analyses, looking at our outcomes. Did our action plans focus explicitly on student performance? Teachers should now be able to answer how students accessed information, how students interpreted information, how students produced information, and how students self-assessed. During the next SAPE staff development session or at grade level team meetings, teachers discuss the analysis of the task. What did it take to fully implement the task? Listing the skills and steps, identifying those students who mastered the skill and those that did not, to plan interventions to help students succeed academically. The SAPE approach uses another simple method of keeping track of student learning or lesson implementation. By using a 4-step action planning model, teachers can use this guide for reflective discussions in weekly or quarterly planning sessions. Future sequences are now being developed to address data-driven decision-making, D3M, framing the learning, and teaming. Student achievement through instructional practices, the SAPE approach. Visit us at www.transitionsineducation.net.